Good morning, everyone. This is Neha Dubey, member of Developer Circle Indore. Hope you are doing well. I think we should wait for a few minutes more. Let everyone join. I request you all to follow our Instagram as well as subscribe our YouTube channel and share as much as you can. We are just about to start in 2 minutes around. I'm still waiting for the audience to arrive. So again, I welcome you all on this DevC channel. With the growing adoption of mobile commerce, it is easy to present to the purchasers via the strategic development of comparable progressive web apps to assist and educate people on how progressive web apps are getting to affect the mobile commerce industry and the way merchants can leverage the simplest out of the stands. So, we are going to start our webinar on progressive web apps development. Today, we have Mr. Swapnil M Mane, sir, technical consultant of HotWax Commerce. So, we will be starting soon. So, we are here with Swapnil, sir.
Namaskaram, everyone.
Hi, Swapnil, sir.
Hello, Namaskaram and Neha. Hope you are doing great.
I'm doing great, sir. What about you?
Doing great. Doing good. Thank you so much. Thanks for asking.
Welcome, sir. Is that something you want to say something before starting the webinar or
Yeah,
tell
sure.
audience about what
Yeah,
you are
definitely.
going to do?
I would like to thank you everyone who joined this webinar, and thanks so much to HotWax Commerce and Facebook Developer Circle Indore to organizing this event, and thanks so much everyone who joined, and in future who are joining this webinar during the time. Let's get started. You can start.
Sure, sir. All up to you.
Great. So let me share my screen with you. Great. Hello once again, everyone. Today we are going to discuss on the progressive web apps. What are they, and how you can implement those in your existing project, or when you are starting a new project, you should be thinking of PWA from starting. So, a little bit about me. I'm a senior technical consultant at HotWax Commerce and the member of Apache Software Foundation. Apache Software Foundation is the largest open source foundation, and I'm the founder and chair to Apache local community and the PMC members to various open source projects like Webbase, Roller, etc. And I'm the founder and the manager to the Vue.js indoor community. So, coming to the agenda for the day. So, what we will do is we will get to know more about what progressive web apps are and what they theoretically mean and what they technically mean. And then we will look at the manifest file. Then we will have the another main pillar of the progressive web app, which is the service worker. So that we will have a look, and then we will look at the live code, actual code of the caching and the background sync. I hope my voice is audible and screen is visible to all. Oh. Hello? Yeah, great. So, cool. So this will be our agenda for this session. So let's get started. So web application. So all of you are aware, right? Our web applications are the traditional web apps we are building every day. And the great thing about web application is their reach is great. When you compare to the mobile apps, if you are having a website, it is accessible to any of the devices, any of the browser, and with single code base, you can definitely access the large audience. So this is the great part of the web application. When it comes to the native mobile apps, native applications are really incredibly rich and it's reliable. Means you can add more features which are native to the application, and basically it feels like it's a part of the device they run on. And user can easily access it. Means they are having an icon on their home screen, they simply click it and they simply open it. And you can see it's a very common behavior in the native application, that whenever there is no internet connectivity, regardless of that, you can access some of the content. And we also have some access to the cool features of your native device like Bluetooth or mobile camera. These all are the leveraged by native applications. So if we have the graph of the capability and the reach of the native apps and the web application, you can see web application having a wider reach. Reason is simple: it runs on the every device, on the every browser. So if we are building web apps, we can reach to the larger audience. But when it comes to the capabilities, like having the what do you call it, as a single means the using the hardware of the device, or for example using the another native features of the device, it's available in the native apps. So what progressive web apps are? It's basically combining the best of both the worlds. So let me take there's a question from Deepak in the last video, last slide. We have what does single code base means. So it's basically, for example, when you write a code for web application, a single code base can run on the Firefox browser and as well as on the Safari browser. You don't have to write separate code for the different browser. That's what I mean by writing. It's a single code for any of the browser which you are accessing. Great. So cool. So native apps are having great features, right? And web application having great reach. So can we combine the best of both the worlds and build something? So yeah, here comes the progressive web app. So it's basically the combination of good things of both the worlds. So what progressive web apps are? So these are some technical and the definitions which we see. We will get more depth of that. So basically, you use the browser's API to turn your web application into the application which will have more feel like a native app. So the user will experience a native like when they are using your application. So it's basically using the modern APIs through which you can deliver the app, which is highly reliable, and you can have the greater reach when you are building the progressive web apps. So we will get into more details and actually live code how you can integrate this progressive web app design patterns in your application. So progressive web apps are not the essentially a technology or a framework. It's basically a design pattern where you progressively add some features to your existing web app, and then there you go. And those browsers who are supporting the new API will have the new rich features for your app, and also your app will also work in the older browser. But the things is obviously the new features which are we going to discuss, like offline mode or maybe the background syncing, they might not be supported in the older browser. But yeah, if your user is using the new browser, all these new features will be there. One important thing is it's a design pattern, though it's not formalized standard yet, right? So when we comes to so initially let's give some little bit of theory part of the progressive web apps. So you'll get the context what progressive web apps are, and then I will jump into the code part of the progressive web app. So basically they are designed, it's a design pattern so that they are capable, reliable, and installable, right? So if you are using these three pillars, it's basically your application will have more like a native application feeling. So what is it capable? So using the modern APIs of the modern APIs of the browser, we will have basically we can add more capability to our application. For example, internet is gone, and for example, still you want your user to show the cache web page of your application or of your website. You can do that. So it's a caching and offline using, or maybe the background syncing. These are all the capabilities you can add to your existing web application. So they become more capable. They become more reliable. In case there is any drop in the internet connectivity, or for example, maybe the user visit your page and then internet connectivity is gone, and when they come back, still they should be able to see some content instead of that message, no internet connectivity, unable to access the site. Instead of that message, we can show some content to our users. So it will be much more reliable. And again, the speed. Now the things is speed is very critical for every application. So one of the fact is, if your page load times goes from 1 second to 10 seconds, the probability the user will leave your page is 123%. It's increased by 123%. It's big, right? So it's really important to make the application really faster. So we will achieve this through the progressive web app design patterns. Installable, right? So do you think why whenever we use our mobile and we have an icon for any app, we can simply click on it, right, and it's there for us. So there is a more chances that user will see your application or use it, because whenever there is an icon on your phone or it's installed on your phone, there are more likely chances you can click on it and simply see it, instead of opening your browser in the mobile, then typing the URL and then accessing the page, right? So basically, with progressive web apps, you can turn your website in such a way that user can add your application to their home screen. Means it will be seen in the home screen of mobile as an icon. So so next time when user want to visit your website, they don't have to actually go to the browser, type this URL and access your site. They can simply click on the app icon and your site is there for them. So this was the theoretical part of the PWA. Now technically what PWA should have? So there are three main things which you need to progressively build your web application. First is the secure context. Your app should be running on the secure port, HTTPS. So it's really a common requirement nowadays. Almost all the production grade applications are running on HTTPS. So it's the first thing. If your application is running on HTTPS and having the manifest file, and it is having a service worker, it will be a PWA. So I know this manifest file and service worker terms is new to you. So don't worry, we will cover it in further slides. So if your application is running on HTTPS, having manifest file and service worker, technically your web application becomes the progressive web app. So it's simple, right? Means if you have any existing a website which you want to turn into PWA, obviously it could be on, it's already on the HTTPS. You can simply add a manifest file and a service worker to turn your application into the progressive web app. So let's have some more context on what secure things is. Obviously, it's basically running on the HTTPS. So your application must run on secure network if you would like to leverage the features of PWA. Because if it's not running on the HTTPS, then few features of PWA like geolocation and the service worker, which are the sold to the PWA, will not be able to access, right? So user will not get the experience. So if you next let's come to the manifest file. So I recently told you, right? Means there will be an option where user can simply click on maybe they are visiting your application on mobile browser, and there they will see an option to add to home screen. Means whenever I'm running my application or website on my Chrome browser or any of the browser, it will show you the link to add to home. Whenever we add to the home screen, it will be shown as the app to the on my home. So next time when we want to access the application, we don't have to go to the browser and type the URL. The app icon will be shown on the home screen of the mobile itself. So how this will be built? So if you want to add it, how you can do that? So for that we need a simple manifest file. So what this file is, it's a simple file which includes the detail of your, it's a simple file will include the detail like name of your application, the starting URL, icons, and other necessary details. I will show you how the manifest file look like, right? Then comes to the service worker. So basically, service worker are the core for the progressive web app. What happens is basically it intercept your and control your network request and the access caching. So basically, if you want to do some cache of the pages, or for example, you are hitting some URL and you want to manipulate in a certain way, service worker is there to help you. And with service worker, you can create a faster web page and definitely offline experience. I know it's all theory going on, but yeah, I will show you the code through which you can create an offline application using the service worker, and also you can make your app installable. So whenever the user will visit to your site, they will have an option to download your app, basically your website as an app. So let's see manifest file. Great. So let me show you the. Okay. So it's a very simple file. Means if you look at it, it's manifest.web manifest. It's extension. It is having a name which shows you what should be the name of your application. Short name. So whenever your application is added to the phone of user, you can see a little name below the icon, right? Means if you see any of the app like Facebook, Google, or Twitter, any of the app you see, you can see there's an icon and there is an name below that icon. So this demo PWA will be the basically the name which will show below the icon of your application when it is added to the home screen of any mobile device. Then we can simply add some description, starting URL, right? So basically what happened is we have after this file, our whenever the user visit our application to browser, for example, they open our website, then they have an option to add our app to the home screen. They simply added it to the home screen. Now the question is, whenever user will click on that icon and open our application from home or from their home screen, which first page which we would like to show, whether we would like to show an home page or about us page, or whatever page which we would like to show. So this is defined by the start URL. So whenever user click on that installable version of our website, the first page will be rendered as the index.html. Again, there's a way. Now the display mode, there could be different display mode, right? Means you can run the application like it is standalone, so that it will not show the header when running the your website as a native app. So it will not show the header. It will simply run as a standalone. So there are various configuration available for the display. Orientation, whenever user open your progressive web app version of basically the icon app which was added to the home screen, and then it should be the portrait mode, or it should be the landscape mode. What should the default mode? Or when the user changed from their device to portrait to landscape, do we want to change it our more of the application, or we don't want to change it? It's all it's decided in the orientation field of this manifest file. So we got a question from basically input from Ayush. Please provide the demo app code repository. So Ayush, at the end of this session, I will share the presentation as well as the code base with you, so that you can walk through it. And if you have any question, definitely you can come back to us and we can discuss on it, or you can post your query on the YouTube video which is going to be uploaded, right? So yeah, it will be there. Now the background color. So you have seen a splash screen, right? Whenever app is open, there is a splash screen. So whenever our website install as a app, and then we can see a splash screen automatically. Our icon will be used for the splash screen, and what should be the background, it will be decided by this color. Then we have this theme color. Basically, hope you have seen whenever there is a top bar for the applications in general. So this is defined by the theme color. and these are the various icons, right? So basically, when you talk about the iOS or Android, so there are different kind of sizes of the icon which you require for your uh, for your app to shown on the device, on the mobile device. Like the icon for your app icon which is showing on your home screen is having a different resolution, and when the splash screen is open, the icon shown is having a different might have a different resolution. So what we do is we create the app icon of the different sizes and define it in the basically this file. So this file is basically having the showing the metadata of your application, right? So whenever you want to make such that you want when you want your application to be installed as a native app, then you need this all properties, right? So these are the simple properties, right? So it's really simple like this. Means after as you do this, means that okay. So as you do this, you add this file. Now you definitely want to make its entry in the index.html so that web browser know where this file is. So then we make a simple create a link of the manifest type and give the path to our manifest file. It's not this name could be anything, but it's always recommended to follow the name pattern so everybody know what this file is. So the relay simply we create a link of the manifest type and give the reference to the manifest file. Doing this simple things will make your application installable. Means whenever somebody visit your site on their mobile browser, they will have an option to see from the browser where they can add your web application to their home screen. Isn't it simple, right? Means it's really simple, right? Means any of your existing project which you are doing, you can at least do this simple thing so that anyone can install your website as an app so that they can access it very easily. It's really simple like this. Means congratulations, you have completed the first step of progressive web app building procedure, where we would like to add our application, our website to the mobile home screen. So just simply define your manifest file, make its entry in the your index file, and after this it will be your website will be installable so that any of the user can go and install your web page website on their mobile device. One interesting thing I would like to share with you is that you have seen obviously whenever you are using your Chrome browser or mobile device, sometimes browser also show you, do you want to add this website to your home screen? So when so for that feature also it's mandatory to have the manifest file. So what it is there is if your website is having the manifest file, and there are some algorithm by Google Chrome where if your user visit your website for maybe after 5 minutes more than 3 times, 2 times, there's some algorithm which keep on changing, but it's documented there. I will share the link at the end of the session in the presentation. So it will your Chrome browser on the mobile will request your users to download the app version of your website. So that's why we need this manifest file. Great. So now it's time to the second topic, which is the service worker. So if you have any question related to manifest or adding, which is the feature of adding your website to the home screen of your mobile device so that it can be installable. If you have any question, please feel free to post on the live chat so that I can answer. Great. So let's I will wait for a few moments if there is any comment or question from anyone. Okay. Let's move to the next topic, which is the service worker. See, I have already termed this, means I use these terms various times, right, in during this presentation so far. Service worker, service worker, service worker. Now, what service worker is and how you can write your code to use the service workers and make your application more robust. So basically, if you want to make your application offline ready, means okay, so Ayush, so we got a question from Ayush. The time required is 5 minutes only. Ayush, are you asking in terms that when the Chrome browser will prompt to the user to download our native, basically download our application and add it to home screen? Is that you are saying time required is 5 minutes? If that is the question, again, it's previously it was like this. If your user visit the application in the difference of 5 minutes for more than 2 times, the Chrome browser will ask to download it. So again, this algorithms and the criteria basically changes over the time, and there is a live document provided by Google Chrome. I will share the link so that you can get it more about it. So in there, these criteria are something like this, and also definitely you should have the manifest file in your application. So if your user visit twice in the difference of 5 minutes, previously this was the criteria. Maybe since it's an evolving technology, there could be some changes when we see it currently. So then it will be added to the then Chrome browser explicitly asks your user, do you want to add this website to your home screen? Okay, so the question from Ayush again is how many times the person has to visit and the duration. So as Ayush mentioned, the duration of the previous criteria was the duration at least in the difference of 5 minutes. User should be able to visit more than twice to your web application or your website. And definitely, again, it's not the fixed criteria. It's since it's a evolving PWS evolving concept and the technology, there could be a new constraint added in the recent times as well. So there's a live document on the Chrome side. We can see, have it and get more depth on it, right? Cool. So coming back to the service worker, so if you want your application to be offline ready, means a user visit your site and they browse some pages, and then internet connectivity on their phone is gone. So when they again visit your page, you should be able to show some content which was they were able to access previously. It will basically enhancing the user experience to make your application offline ready. Because if there's a low internet connectivity, or maybe there no internet connectivity, if you show your user the message or your site is not reachable, definitely it's affect your brand directly. And but if you show some of the cached content, definitely it's good to have it, and it builds up the trust on the brand. So if you want to make your application offline ready, you can use service worker. We will shortly have to look at the actual live code so that you can actually see it. And then obviously your website is actually added to home screen by the user. So when they click on the home screen icon of your website, at least it should show some content. Then we can use some features like background synchronization, push notification, which are definitely very coined words in terms of native application. So for example, your user is creating some orders. You are building an e-commerce site, and then you are your user added some items to the cart, and internet connectivity goes on, goes off, right? And still you want your customer to do the checkout and store the order in the local local storage of the device of users. And then when the internet connectivity came back, you want to sync the order in the local storage of the user's device to push it to the server. Or for example, you want some background synchronization, some data which is you want to sync when the internet connectivity comes again. So this you can do with the service worker. I will also show you how you can do the background synchronization shortly in this uh, in this uh, session, right? So then we got a question from Muskan. Worker is live after closing the pages? Yes, the answer is yes. Surprisingly, yes, right? So basically, even if you close the tab, if the user close the tab of your website, still service worker is running. Basically, service worker is having their own thread and run in the background. Basically, JavaScript is running one thread. Similarly, service worker is having its own thread, and it's running the browser. It's the background of the browser. It means even if you close your website, service worker is still running. So you just first have to register your website to the service worker, and then simply you can sit back and relax. Service worker will take care of everything. Okay, and then live even after you close the page, it's a background process. See, some user added your website to their home screen, right? And now it's not the case they always keep your web application on their mobile open, right? They will close the app, right, like we do it. So still there will be the features which we are discussing right now is accessible because service worker have its own thread and it's run in the background. Great. So we have a question from Deepak. Different for each module of an app, or it's a single file for the web application, for the whole application? Nice question, Deepak. So we can have a single service worker for your entire application. And again, depending on the situation, you may want to limit the scope of your service worker. For example, you are having the multiple modules in your application, and you want only few modules to be controlled by service worker, and you don't want to touch the remaining modules. It should work the way it was working in the traditional web application. You can still do that. So the answer is yes, one service worker will serve your all the solution, and it's again configurable. You can add the scope to the service worker. I will show you that in the code. We get a question from Maulika. How do manage our data on cache as it is limited on web browser? So Maulika, as we say, it's a progressive web app. The core fundamental principle of progressive web app is if the browser or the device of your client or the end user supporting the new features, your application will give that new experience to the end user. And if their browser is not supporting it, if they are using the older browser, it simply work as it was working previously, right? So we don't have anything to lose. Your application will work as they are working previously with the older browsers, and with the newer browser, it will be add a new features to the application. So and nowadays the chances are very high that people are using the recent browser because everybody get a prompt to update their browser, right? So then we have a service worker life cycle. I will quickly open a page for you to show you the life cycle of the service worker. So just see it. I will exactly show you in the code as well. So whenever you add a service worker to your web application, when your page is loaded first time, it start the installation process. Then it install it, and then once it is installed, it basically activate it. And once it is activated, all your new features which be added to your application will be able to address, right? So it's installed, activated. So basically these are the life cycle of the service worker, so that if you want to add some logic here in your life cycle phases, you can do that. So okay, so let's come to the service worker. What are the browsers which are supporting service worker? So you can see majority of browsers are supporting the service worker. So globally, there are the all users, around 94.95% users are using the browser which supports the service worker. So with this, definitely, if you are using this feature, then definitely you can add more. The wider audience is using this application or the features of your application. So service worker is supported majorly in all the major browser, and almost 94.95% of the user, the browsers they are using, support the service worker. So we got a question from Ayush. What is the storage data limit in the web browser? So basically, Ayush, there are different storage limit data for the web browser. Again, what we do is, when we write our code of the service worker, we write in such a way that it deleted the old cache data and always use the new data which is fetched from the server. So your even it came from the cache when the user is offline, still you will be able to see the latest content which was fetched by the browser. So I will show you how we deleted the old cache and add a new cache. Right. So let's see the live code of registering a service worker. So basically, this is the service worker file. It looks something like this. We have the service worker.js, and here we can write multiple codes, and you'll get more details what they are. And all the logics which I have discussed with you, how you can cache or how you can have the offline access to your application, is all is managed by this file, and the background sync process, everything, right? So great. So so we have, let me show you the code, how you can basically register your service worker. So imagine, just for time being, I have this service worker file. It is having all that code which I discussed, how you can make it offline ready or background sync. For now, I will explain you the code, but just for now, consider it's having all this code. Now we want to register this service worker. So whenever your app is loaded, your website is loaded in the browser, your browser should register your website in the service worker. So for that, we have the register method of service worker, right? So this simple code, service worker in navigator, and this simple line, navigator.serviceworker.register. So what is this navigator? So basically, it's again the browser API provided you this navigator. It's basically essentially, if you want to understand in the layman language, it's your browser, whether you're using Chrome, Firefox, or the Firefox of mobile, or maybe the Chrome browser of mobile version. Whatever is your user agent is basically the navigator. So then we can use the method of the navigator service worker and register and the path to our service worker. So it will register our service worker to the browser. Now the question is, why we have put this if statement, and what is the service worker in navigator? This means, as I told you, whenever you write a progressive web application, you should always follow one fundamental principle, that if your user is using the old browser, nothing should break. It's still, if they are using new browser, they should be able to access the new features. But if your user is using old browser, it should not affect the existing functionality, right? Because we are progressively enhancing our application. So service worker in that navigator, what it does is basically checks whether your browser supports service worker or not. If it's supported, it will register the service worker. And now this is the scope. So one of the our viewer asked the question: Can we have can one service worker manage over all modules? So there I say this is can be managed with the scope. So as you see here, I've added a root to my scope. So everything in my application will be managed by the service worker. I can even simply go and say only maybe the scope only service worker can handle my index.js file, index.html file, or maybe I have a folder of about where only I want that to be managed. So this scope can be managed by this scope part when you register the service worker. So this was the part about the scope. Now let's come to the caching strategy, right? So there are various caching strategy available when you implement their progressive web app. Like for example, what you would like to, how would like to serve the content from the cache to your user. For example, some content are always static, like for example some static content which never changes. You can say first time it will load it from the network, and then after you always want to serve it via cache. So the one strategy is cache first. It means whenever your user will try to access something, it will first give from the cache, and if cache is not available, it will go for the network, right? So it's cache first, then go to network if it's not available in cache. Next is the network first. Again, it's like this. Always take your data from the network and cache it. And when there's a no internet connectivity, definitely the data will be written from the cache. So cache first is generally when you're having a static content which does not change frequently. We use for that content we use the cache first strategy. When you have a dynamic data, like for example, you have the post or feeds in your Twitter or Facebook, for example, that kind of application, the user generating content and it's frequently changing. There we can use a network first strategy. Also, we have a network only strategy. If you want some data or part of your application, sure, use the network only. It's never should be get from anything from cache. You can use that strategy, and similarly it's applied to cache also. Now let's see the background sync, right? So I've told you, right, we can see the background sync process, right? So for that caching, let me show you quickly show you how we can do the cache part of the application, just a code walkthrough, right? So great. So let me show you the live application. Okay, so this is basically a demo PW application I've used for the demonstration purpose, and I'm just accessing this application. It is having some features like it fetch the profile of the GitHub user. It is having a background sync API, and and this our notification kind of feature. So for example, I type the user, for example, Swapnil M Mane profile. You can see my profile is fetched, right? Now what I will do is I will turn off the internet for this website. So you can see I'm now offline, and I'm just refreshing my page. See, still you were able to see some content. Why? Because the data is coming from the cache. So how you can cache your files, right? So this is really very simple code, right? So we have do you remember a life cycle hook which we have discussed? Your app is first installed, then it's activated. So what we've done is self, it means the self-service worker. When it is installed, until the install is complete, what we do is we open a cache, right? Caches.open is basically it create uh, uh, what do you call it as an in your cache storage it creates something like a folder, right? I will show you. So you can see here I'm having the cache storage, right? In your application tab you can see cache storage. Here you can see we have this cache b4. So this is basically a cache name we have given on the top of this file. So it will create this cache in the cache storage, and it will cache your all the requests which you are doing here. So you can see it is caching this request. So it's basically the request and its response is cached. So whenever this same URL hit again and there's no internet connectivity, your application will be served from the cache, right? So we have simply registered our service worker, right? Now, whenever your service worker is installed, this event will be executed. And once this is installed, what we do is we have created a cache of name cache dash v4. It's just a version we have added. Now it's open. Now you can add all the pages which you would like to add in your cache. So the next API are available to you is, so it's done there. Dot then means whenever you open a cache, for example, I want to add this new folder in the cache storage. When this is created, then go to this code and cache all files, means cache.add all. So it's basically cache.add all is the method available on the cache, which basically you can give the array of files. Basically it is the path, and it will add all that to the cache storage. So here we have defined the files, right? I have my index file, which is my root file. I have also my index file, some fonts, some styling, some JS files, and of course our manifest file. So what we have done is, and also the icons of our application. So whatever we've done is, we have simply say whenever the service worker is installed, and you know how it will get installed, because we have our main JS where we have say register our service worker, and the browser automatically registered it. And when it is installed, installation is complete, we have add a cache of we have opened a cache. Basically it is like folder we have created in the cache storage, and then we tell the browser or of our service worker basically add all the files which are having this path. So it is storing all this file in the uh, cache storage. See, you can see my images here, right? So it's basically stored it in the cache of the browser. So whenever there is no internet connectivity, it will be simply get it from here. So the second thing now you can do in your existing application is simply define a service worker, register the service worker with this code, navigator.serviceworker.register, and whenever your service worker is registered, you can simply add a event lister on install. Means whenever this service worker is your application is service worker for your application is installed, you can cache some of the path, so that when the internet connectivity is gone, like you can see here, there is no internet connectivity. Still, I'm able to access this because this all data is coming from the cache, right? Cool. So this is the thing, right? So now how it is coming from the cache, right? So We have also one event listener for the service worker is fetch. So basically, your service worker listens some events like install. Again, it's the lifecycle hook, or when your application is activated, or when the fetch is called. So fetch is basically whenever you hit some network request through your browser. Maybe you are getting some data from the API, or maybe you are trying to access some data. It's come from the it's ultimately calling the fetch API, right? So as I told you, the service worker, you can intercept the fetch API. It means you can play with it. Means you can told. So it's like a network proxy to your application. So whenever a fetch request is there, you can see if it is if basically the all your if the page is of your same origin. For example, location.origin and url.origin is basically nothing. It gives you the origin of the your application. In our case, what we are doing is if the URL is this, it means we are returning or accessing our own page. For example, having about page, it will be something like this, right? So if I access this page, our request basically the URL origin will be like this one, right? And similarly, our location origin is it's the our it returns the your website actual origin. Again, for our case, this is the location of our origin of our website. And what we are doing is whenever a new URL hit, for example, about is hit, we take the again the uh, we take the origin of that and we compare it. If it is the same demo pw.search.sh, we return the data from cache. And if it is not there, if it is some endpoint, like for example we are hitting some API, we return it from the network first, right? So here you can see in cache first, it's a simple code. We have our request, and what it is doing is cache.match.request. So request is passed to this cache, and it basically what it do is, now this match method what execute internally is, it will search for the your request, what URL you have hit in this directory, in this storage. If it is fine from here, it will return you the cached response. For example, if you don't find it here, for example, first time we don't have any cache content, right? So it will be then calling the fetch request. So what we are doing is we are again calling the as it is fetch. So it will be called from the network. If it is available in the cache, we will return from here. And again, if it is a network first for our dynamic content, for example, we are fetching the data from the profile data from GitHub API. It will first call the network first, and it's again the simple network it. We fetched it, and then what we've done is we have put basically like we have add option, we also have a put option where we can add the request and the response came from the server. We added it to our cache of our application, and we simply add the request, which is this, and its a response. See, it's not the simple content like key value pair of our JSON. It's actually the URL and its actual response. Like in our case, like for example, this URL is the image. Then again, why this is cloned? Because you can it's a stream, you can read it only once. So we simply first clone it and then add it in the add in the cache storage, and then simply we return the response from the network first. So our dynamic API will execute like this. So this is something on how you can write your application to make offline ready so that it can cache content from the it can fetch the data from the basically your cache content. Now, since we are having almost 12, so I will quickly cover the background sync task. So basically, I will give you the idea what it is. It's basically the way you can sync your data when the internet connectivity is on. For example, I hit some URL here. For example, I'm my application is offline, right? And I'm hitting it, right? So you can see what I've done is I've entered the URL or basically the name or GitHub name of one of the user, and when I click on it, it's nothing showing. And for example, let me again turn to the online. See what happened. Whenever, as soon as I come online, the GitHub profile user of the user which I've typed previously is shown. Isn't it magic, right? Means as soon as the internet connectivity is there, it shows you the new data. So I will quickly walk through you the code. It's again very simple code. Basically, what you do is we have the registration, basically navigator service worker dot ready. Again, I will share you the code so you can. I'm showing you the actual core code. There are some boilerplate or code before and after it. You can see it when you visit the repository. I will share the link with you. So what we do is essentially we have a registered tag. Basically, we can create a different tags here, and whenever your service worker is ready, we can create a new tag. For here, I name is a GitHub. You can give the name the way you want. Whenever this tag is there, then we write a code. Whenever the internet connectivity comes again, what should we do with this tag? So basically in the code, we have written something like this in the service worker. So, see here, I have just simply registered this tag, nothing else. It's not doing anything. It's just registering a tag for the background sync. And in service worker, what we have done is whenever the internet connectivity is came back, it listened to an event. As I told you, our service worker is doing all this magic is by listening to various event, like listening to the lifecycle events or maybe the patch events, and this is the sync event. Sync event is called whenever there is internet connectivity came back. So what it does is whenever sync is done, your event is called, and in that event we check whether this is my event, it's GitHub. Then we can perform some logic. Here we are doing nothing. We are just if you go to the code internally, we are fetching the live data from the API because we have internet connectivity now. Similarly, you can write any of the logic which you want. For example, if you want to push your order which are in your local storage to the server, you can create a new tag and implement your logic here so that your new orders will be synced or maybe pushed to the server. So that's all for the this session, and I would like to give some credits and references thanks to the following people. Obviously, I have took a lot of reference from the documented provided by Mozilla and the official web dev document of PWA from the Google, and also I would like to thank Gopal for this repository. It's basically the demo repository for the progressive web app, and it can be live access here. So you can access here. So thanks to Gopala Krishnan, and you can obviously try it your. You can also try it from your own browser. I will share the presentation on the YouTube link as well, and so that you can access this presentation as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening to this and asking so many good questions. So if you are still having a question, I'm open to it, and we can discuss that.
Thank you, Swapnil sir, for this wonderful webinar. Hope you guys learned a lot. Hoping to see you soon in our upcoming webinar. Just don't forget to follow us on various social platforms, and you can just subscribe our YouTube channel so as to get regular updates.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining.
Thanks a lot, Swapnil, for giving us your time. I guess a lot of students must be watching the webinar, and if they'll be having any questions, I'll just request them to just post your questions in comment section. Whenever Swapnil will get time, maybe he'll just skim through the comments and he'll answer your questions. If you have any questions right now, you can definitely ask them. I guess there's one question, Swapnil, if you want to take it in the comments section.
Sure. How to go forward to learn by own any resources online? Yes. So we got a question from Ayush: how to go forward, learn by our own or any resources online? Yes, Ayush. As I'm going to share you the presentation link in the YouTube and the Facebook Live where it is available. So there are some links I have provided at the end, which I referred for learning. At the same time, there are tons of resources available in the YouTube as well. And obviously, web.dev progressive web app. It's basically the URL. It's officially from the Google. You can visit that website also. It's having good content as well. Yeah. And yes, please feel free to ask any question on the comments after the session. Even I will screen going through the comment and we'll try to answer that queries as well.
Okay, thanks, Ayush. I hope you got your answer, and thanks, Swapnil, for like answering almost all the questions which were coming through during the session. That's really great. And one announcement for the attendees: we will right after this session, we'll be having a Kahoot quiz for you all. So just stay tuned and visit kahoot.it. We'll give you a pin which you can enter and you can start playing the quiz. I'll share my screen and then we can start with the quiz. Swapnil, thanks again for joining the session. Neha, do you have anything to conclude, or we can shift to the Kahoot?
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you, Neha, and thank you, Facebook Developer Circle, Indore, and HotWax Commerce. Thank you so much for your coordination.
Thank you so much, sir. So we can move forward to Kahoot session now.
Okay, cool.